Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to this edition of Balance in Life. I'm CrystalTyler-Mackey, happy to welcome you on behalf of Virginia Cooperative Extension, our Human Development Program team, and our partners in this webinar series, North Carolina Cooperative Extension. My co-host Bethany Eigel and I are happy to welcome you to another session where our awesome colleague, Twandra Lomax-Brown, is going to talk with us about organizing and conquering clutter. Twandra came on with us in the spring and talked with us about spring cleaning and getting our spaces prepared and organized. And it was such a well-received session that we thought, we fall back this weekend, which means it's going to be darker earlier. I don't know about where you are, but it's been pretty chilly. And so as we start thinking about the weather changing and us being indoors more, as well as the upcoming holidays and where we might want to do things and have people over or just redecorate, we thought this would be a good time to revisit that organizing so that we can have peaceful spaces where we feel comfortable being in and spending more time. And if we could get those things organized, we could spend more time doing the things that we really want to do and that nourish us rather than the things that frustrate us. So Twandra, we are looking forward to some good information and some good tips. And we hope that they're going to be easy to apply tips that aren't going to overwhelm us. So welcome to the session.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm going to go on and start sharing my screen. Okay, so good morning and welcome everyone. Like Crystal was saying, in the spring, we had a session to help you spring forward and get your way clear to do so. So today we're going to talk about decluttering because it's the holiday season. And during the holiday, we bring things into our home. So we also need to take things out of our home in order to make space for those things that we're bringing in. So tell me if this sounds like you, that you keep every bill, receipt, every financial statement, and you basically don't know what to do with things sometimes because you don't know how to safely dispose of them. You can never find anything because you don't have a system of organization. Your spare bedrooms, closets, and basements are full of junk that you don't know how to tackle. And the other thing is you want less clutter, but you can't figure out how to really get started. Sometimes we're overwhelmed and don't know what to do. And sometimes different types of clutter drive us crazy. We have shoes and clothes and accessories, dishes and kitchen items, bills, magazines. Sometimes we hold on to obituaries and programs from events, toys, knickknacks, whatnots, and holiday decor. So since the season is upon us, let's talk about the decor a little bit. A lot of times we go from holiday to holiday, whichever is the theme for that holiday, we'll purchase decorations. If there's a specific color that season, we purchase that. So somehow things start piling up in our storage spaces that we don't really use. So this is a good time to go through those decorations and decide what you're going to keep and what you're going to get rid of. If your artificial tree is shedding pieces, your lights aren't working, but you're holding on to it because you think you're going to get to it to fix it, I think you probably need to go on and get rid of it because you probably have held on to it for a good bit of time and probably have bought another tree to actually replace that one. My husband goes to conferences or anywhere and picks up ink pens. When we were moving last year, I pulled out one of his drawers to his dresser and the entire drawer was filled with ink pens. I wasn't going to take the time to go through all those pens to see whether or not they were writing or not. I just dumped them all in the trash because I'm sure if a drawer was full of ink pens, they've been there for some years or more. So just some things to think about when we go to conferences and stuff. I make it a practice to only pick up the things that I know I'm going to use. And I don't take those things home. I'll bring it to the office and put it where it needs to be in order for me to use it. Some reasons that you want to get rid of clutter is because it could be potentially a safety hazard. It could be also a health hazard. It causes depression and anxiety. And it also can cause infestation because bugs and spiders love dark, cluttered places. You could possibly become a hoarder. And a lot of time, we waste a lot of time daily just looking for something, looking for things that we can't remember where we put it because it's so much stuff around that we can't find it. So to get started, you want to use the simplest system possible. Start with one room at a time, because if you have a lot of rooms, it can be overwhelming when there's a lot of clutter all around you. So develop a system and get the items that you need for sorting. So you want a garbage or a trash bag for things that are broken, worn out, or empty bottles or boxes or whatever. You want something to hold your recycling items. You want something to hold shredding items, your giveaway or donations. If you're going to have a yard sale to get rid of some of that stuff or consign it, you want to have the appropriate place to put those items. And if some things need to be laundered or go to the cleaners, you need to have a sorting bin for that as well. And then you'll have a bin for the items that you plan to keep. So when we talk about shredding, it's a good idea to check with your local bank or credit union, because once you've collected those items that need to be shredded, which is usually confidential information, you want to have somewhere to take those. So a lot of times they advertise shredding days, and you'd be able to take those items there to have them shredded. Clutter in the kitchen and dining area usually consists of unused or damaged pots and pans or baking pans and dishes. Most of the time, what causes most of the clutter in the kitchen is containers that don't have tops or tops that don't have containers. So those are some things you can get out of the way if you take time just to sort through those. Any damaged or broken or unused kitchen gadgets or utensils, tableware that's chipped or cracked, that you don't use, but you're just holding on to it because you're trying to figure out how you're going to fix it. Now, one thing when it comes to that, sometimes we do have some sentimental pieces that might have gotten chipped or cracked, but at that point, you want to maybe display them somewhere where no one can touch them and get cut by them. Tablecloths, candles, placemats, those type of things accumulate sometimes, and we need to get rid of those from because we usually decorate, and whatever again is most popular is what we'll get, and then we just accumulate a lot of things. And then there's the infamous junk drawer. Everybody has a junk drawer, and it not only can be in the kitchen, it can be anywhere, just like I was telling you with my husband and those ink pens that I found. So you want to conquer that junk drawer too. A lot of times it's just coupons, or you've collected menus for restaurants, ink pens again, just things just are thrown in there. We never take the time to go through there. And you might have some surprises in there. Might be some good stuff in there too. You never know. But spices or outdated non-perishables and canned goods also should be swept through every couple of, every quarter or every 6 months, just to ensure that it's not taking up space, because it's something that you're not going to be able to use anyway because it's expired. Again, in the kitchen and dining area, you can categorize and organize your remaining items once you cleared out those that you don't need. You can store it in your cabinets and your drawers or in your dining room storage area. And it's helpful if you have some little organizing trays or bins to keep those things in order. My aunt had a saying that there's a place for everything, and then everything is kept in its place. So when you have a system like that, you are able to find everything because it is in your place. And this picture demonstrates a junky drawer and then one that's been organized. So you might want to consider getting some type of organizing tray to organize your kitchen drawers. And your kitchen cabinets, I talked about the containers, and sometimes we stuff things into the cabinet and hope that when we open the door, they don't all fall out. But if you look at the before and after, in your after picture, you see how that cabinet has been organized. so things are readily accessible. I have a Lazy Susan in my kitchen, and that's what Lazy Susan cabinet, and that's what all of my containers are on. So I can just spin them around and don't have to worry about pulling out things to try to find things. And anything that doesn't have a top or a bottom goes in the trash. Now let's get to that clothes closet. And this is the perfect time of year for that because the seasons are changing. So you want to go through your clothing and you want to see what's giveaway, what's garbage, what's to be donated, or what you might want to consign. So in doing so, ask yourself a couple of questions. Does this item actually still fit me, or am I just holding on to it because it's beautiful and I love it and I reminisce about how I used to wear it and think that I might get back to that one day? When was the last time you actually wore some of your items? Was it an impulse buy and you got it on sale and you never even have worn it? Do you even like the item? I know every year I go through stuff and I say, well, I really didn't like you, so I think I'll get rid of you because I didn't wear you last year. So those are the types of things you might want to ask. And if something has needed mending or has been frayed or torn or is raveling, you probably will want to get rid of it. Maybe hold on to a couple of those items to wear around the house or work in the yard, but you don't need an entire drawer full of clothes that are torn or worn out. So in your closet, you can separate and organize your things, the things that you plan to keep by colorizing them, categorizing them, hanging them, and folding them and storing them neatly. And as you see in the two pictures, there are bins and shelves and hanging shelves that will hang from the rods in your closet that can help you do that. And when you have your things organized, it's much easier for you to find because organization also plays into time management. When you're trying to get ready in the morning and you have to pull things out and throw things up and pick them up and look under, that really takes a lot of time to prepare to actually go to work or anywhere else you have to go. But if you have it organized or colorized, you can look into the categories that you need to find what you need and readily get ready. This is my dream closet. I probably will never achieve that, but I sure like looking at it because it sure is pretty. So moving on to your bathroom. And this is a get rid of or keep situation. A lot of times we don't realize that makeup expires. You usually shouldn't keep that any more than 3 to 6 months. And you need to get rid of it after that. Your medication, a lot of times we hold on to, say we had an ache and pain in our knee or in our shoulder and the doctor prescribed some naproxen. And it was 3 years ago when he gave us that. So we know that it's expired, but we're going to try to hold on to it because it might still work for that pain. That's something I wouldn't recommend because if medicine has expired, you shouldn't really be using it and you shouldn't really be holding on to it either. So at the bottom, there are 2 links that you can go to, myoldmeds.com and singlecare.com. And they will tell you how to dispose of medications. And some of them even break it down to the area that you live in, and you can find out how to get rid of it. The first aid kit is something that we usually don't look at that much. We only pull it out when we actually need it. But if you haven't needed it in a while, you need to check it because if you have any Band-Aids or any wrapping tape or anything in there, it could not stick anymore. So there's no use in having a Band-Aid and it doesn't stick and you can't use it. So you need to go through there and take a look at it and see whether or not the things in your first aid kit are actually going to be helpful or beneficial to you when an emergency occurs. Hair products, sometimes we buy things and try them and they pile up and we don't use them. So we need to get rid of those as well. Skin products, we do the same thing. We buy things and try it because someone has told us about it, but it doesn't work for us, but we hold on to it, maybe thinking we can give it to someone else. I don't know, but still, that actually builds clutter in your spaces. We have gadgets like foot tubs, curling irons, hair dryers. more specifically curling irons. Sometimes those curling irons will stop heating up and we can jiggle the cord on them and make it through that curling session of fixing our hair. Then we'll come back and we keep doing it. And then one day when you're getting ready to go to a special occasion and you try to use that curling iron, believe me, that's going to be the day that curling iron is not going to work. So go on and replace it. There's no need in just jiggling the cord and thinking it's going to work forever. Go on and get rid of that broken one and replace it. And a lot of people try different curling irons and end up with a drawer of those as well. So don't hold on to things that you're not going to use. In your linen closet, after a while, it's time to get rid of old towels and washcloths. So don't be holding on to them for 10 years. You can use some of them as towels to wash your car or cleaning cloths. So you might want to hold a few for that and just put them in the buckets where you hold your car washing items and your household cleaning items. But the rest of them just get rid of. Shower curtains, bed linens, comforters, draperies. Those are things that we also buy based on popularity of a theme or a color or something of that nature. But those things take up a lot of space in our houses. So with comforters, usually the best thing that I can suggest to do with those is have a comforter for the spring and summer and one for the fall and winter. And what usually happens is you might need a transitional comforter or blanket or something like that for between those seasons. But other than that, I would suggest that if you're not using any comforter, using some of your comforters, go on and get rid of them, because you'll be surprised of how much extra space you'll have if you don't have those big bulky items around. And the same thing with accent pillows. Actually, accent pillows are the cheapest way to really change your decor. So when you buy those, you pile them up and sometimes you use them again, sometimes you don't. Your holiday ones, you probably pull those out and use those. But look into finding pillow covers instead of buying the entire pillow, because the pillow covers will take up less space. And if there are pillows in there that you're not using, just go on and get rid of those. And then again, back to gadgets such as broken irons that the cords don't work on, or steamer, or any other household cleaning gadget that you have that might be stored in your linen closet. Take a look at it and see if you actually are using it, or is it something that you've planned to repair for years and never got to it? So you might want to just get rid of it. The difference between these two closets is that one is unorganized and the other is. And the one that's organized looks so much better, and it looks like I can find everything that I need there, versus the one on the left that is in total chaos. So again, think about your time management and looking for things when you think about organizing your items. The garage, the attic, the tool shed, and the basement are the main areas that we usually use for storage or just holding on to junk. And most of it is broken junk that we don't need. So you can clear these spaces by getting rid of those broken items or tools, especially if you can't fix them or haven't taken the time to repair them, and you've bought something else already to replace it. So you might want to get rid of the broken one. Any empty insecticide or other chemical containers need to be gotten rid of as well. And make sure that you mark those chemical containers so you'll know what's in them, and the products don't get mixed up and cause some harmful, you'll have a harmful event by doing that. Old flower pots and lawn items that haven't been used lately, or a lot of times when we buy the flower pot, we'll buy the flowers from Lowe's or Home Depot, we have those plastic pots that they come in. Usually those black pots aren't decorative. So we just kind of pile them up and say, maybe we'll use them for this, or maybe I'll start my own flower or something of that nature, but they never get used. So just throw them away. Do the same thing with any lawn items that haven't been used or are broken. Again, your electrical cords that don't work or other electrical items that are stored in places like that, get rid of those too. Any old paint or paint cans Usually you want to check the paint, and if it's a paint that you want to use again in your house, just tear off that top coat and put it somewhere where the paint can be remixed again. But other than that, if it's dried out or they're just paint cans there that you're holding so you can remember what the colors are, just take a little bit of that paint and put it on an index card as well. Sometimes they can mix it from that too. Any old or broken furniture, unless it's an heirloom that you absolutely have to have, I would suggest clear up your space and get rid of it. Here you see a garage that's in chaos. On the left and on the right, you'll see an organized garage. Look how much more space you have in there. And it looks so clean and so neat. So that's something that you want to strive for. Again, you won't be looking for things all over the place. Another main source of clutter is paper clutter. We worry about getting rid of important items. So here's something that you might find interesting. Your income tax information, you usually only need to hold on to that for 7 years. Any IRAs or investment information is 7 years as well. Your monthly invoices or statements, you want to keep those until your next bill comes. Any bank statements or canceled checks, you want to keep those for at least a year. Credit card receipts for significant purchases. And when I say significant, I mean like a washer and dryer or refrigerator or something that has a warranty associated with it. You probably want to keep that for at least a year, but you want to hold on to the warranty until it's actually expired, and then you can discard it. And usually when our warranties expire, if we have a homeowner's warranty with something like Select Home Warranties or American Shield, usually those can kick in if you have problems with those types of appliances. Medical information, you want to hold on to that for that insurance year or until a specific medical bill is paid. And always remember to hold on to your zero balance receipt, because sometimes when you go to make big purchases, such as maybe houses or something of that nature, sometimes things come up on your credit that are associated with medical bills. So you want to make sure that you have that receipt and have a place that you're filing things like that, so you're able to present it if something like that occurs. Employment information. This type of information usually hold on to until it's updated. Like if you have any type of promotions that have taken place, any monumental events on your job, you hold on to those things as you build your resume, or if they're sentimental to you or something of that nature. Any retirement information, you want to make sure that you have a place to store that and that you're holding on to that. Your insurance information that you get yearly on your job, you can discard the previous year because normally that's updated each year. Homeowner information or buying or selling information, you want to kind of hold on to that indefinitely because usually those purchases are associated with taxes or property or land. So you want to make sure that you have as much documentation that can support that purchase as possible. And that should be filed somewhere that you have organized to do so. Some more paper clutter could include junk mail. Make sure that you read and open your mail with a recycling or a trash bag near. Shred any pre-approved credit card offers and any mail that might have sensitive or confidential information on it. You can opt out and stop credit bureaus from providing your name to pre-approved credit card offers by using the number here, or you can use the website at the bottom and it'll help you with opting out of various companies and services that are selling your names to others. Okay, so I'll hold that screen there in case somebody wants to take a picture of it with their phone or write it down for a few minutes. Okay. Paper clutter goes on and on. So magazines and catalogs, always remember when you discard those to remove your name and address tag off of the catalogs or magazines. And if you want your name removed from the company, call them and let them know that you're not interested in receiving anymore. A lot of people hold on to obituaries or programs from weddings and things of that nature. So if that's something that you want to keep to chronologically have an idea of how your family history looks, that's good to keep for that purpose. But if you're holding on to every obituary for every funeral or every program from every wedding or every event that you've been to, I don't know if you really need to hold on to that, but you can decide that. And if you do decide to hold on to everything, just make sure you come up with a way to organize those types of things. Cards and pictures, birthday cards and holiday and sympathy cards, sometimes we tend to hold on to those. If there's some that are monumental, like with my daughter, I've held on to one nice card usually from her age of 1. I think I went up to maybe 16 and I probably stopped there. And any pictures that you have around, I had a bin that had nothing but pictures just thrown in there. So I had to take one day and just go through all of those pictures and kind of categorize them based on who they were or where they were or what they were. And once I got through categorizing them, I put labels on them and took a permanent marker and marked on them what they were. And the ones that were for my daughter, if they were the years of those birthday cards, I just put the birthday card in the Ziploc bag with it. And once I got them organized that way, I put them back in that bin so I could easily and readily find things when I was looking for it based instead of pulling out all of those pictures and shuffling through those to try to find what I needed. And newspapers, sometimes we save special articles or things that have happened or anything relative to family or friends. So what I do is only cut out that monumental part of that article or the important parts and have a filing system or maybe some type of book that you're keeping that in, because if you're keeping that whole section of the newspaper, that will take up a lot of space as well. Here are some home filing systems that you could possibly use to file your information. You have your regular filing cabinet and you have top labels that you can organize them with. And sometimes you can use decorative types of filing systems, such as fabric boxes or wicker or wooden boxes that look really nice and blend in sometimes with a decor. Ways to contain and organize your items. For clothing, you can use bins, hangers, drawers, fold and store neatly. For paper items, a file folding system, a file drawer system. For any items or miscellaneous items, I choose clear bins because you can actually see what's in them without them being labeled. You can use fabric bins or cubbies or decorative baskets or wire or metal baskets or even stands. That stand there, I have one similar to that I put all of my water bottles on when I buy my cases of water, because I hate it when the plastic bag is in the floor and all the water bottles are falling over. So it looks so much neater now that I put those on a stand kind of like that. Where you can find storage containers, and those range from your lower price or more economical containers to some more expensive ones. You can try Dollar Tree or Dollar General, and actually our Family Dollar where I live has a Dollar Tree in it. So that's convenient for me because you have one side of the store that has dollar items and then you have the other side that has your regular price Family Dollar items. But roses, and then you move on to the next level, which is Ross, Gabe's, and Big Lots. Then Walmart, Target, Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Burlington. But I found that some of the more expensive storage systems or bins come from Lowe's and Home Depot, and you can also order those online. And the picture that you see in the laundry room, what I did was bought some galvanized drink holders. That were popular during the summer. And I use those to hold my paper towels, toilet paper, and my washing detergent and softener. And the little felt bin that's in the middle, the kind of round one, I put stuff like starches or fabric treatment type things in. And those two clothes baskets are there for my husband because when the clothes are coming out of the dryer, he doesn't really fold his up quick enough for me. So I just dump them in there and you can't really see them that well because the baskets are black. So come up with what works for you, but just looks nice and neat. And these are some pictures of before and afters. My sister-in-law talked to me one day and I told her how I'd organized my laundry room. So that's what she did that next day. Well, that day she went out and got organizing bins and baskets and came back, and the next day it took her about 3 hours to organize everything that was in her laundry room. So sometimes we can be inspiration to others by helping to conquer our clutter, and they see how much better it looks and how much better it makes you feel when you don't have a lot of things around you. So are there any questions?
Twandra, that's some really great tips. And, we're going to send out the slide deck because people are thinking about different pieces that they need. There was one question that came up, and it was you were talking about papers and what you keep and what you don't keep. And someone asked a question about how long do you need to keep some of that paperwork for someone who's passed away?
I think until you settle the estate really and make sure that you have some type of confirmation or documentation that the estate has actually been settled and all the bills, such as hospital bills and things of that nature, have been paid, and you have something that reflects a zero balance for all of those types of bills. So it might be indefinitely because it depends on how long it takes to accomplish those goals. But usually you want to hold on to it until you have actually settled the estate and paid off things that need to be paid off.
Hey, thank you so much. There's been a lot of really good tips too, Twandra. When you were talking, people were dropping and sharing lots of different tips in the chat box, even things about where you can donate old linens and towels to animal shelters and things like that. So lots of really great information. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the truck, on the one of those pictures, it was a truck of the veterans, because there are numerous veterans organizations that pick up items that you want to discard. We had changed out all our light fixtures in our house and some of the bathroom sinks, and I couldn't figure out what to do with those. So I called the help vets, which picks up in our area every Wednesday, but you have to call and make an appointment for them to do it. So I was able to clear all of that stuff out of the storage shed that I couldn't figure out what I was going to have to do with it. And it was in really good shape, too good a shape to really get rid of. And I didn't feel like hauling it to Goodwill or anywhere like that. So if you can find somewhere that'll come by and pick things up, that's usually the best option.
That sounds great. I appreciate how you laid out at the beginning, just sorting what you need to keep, what you need to toss, what you're going to donate, things like that. All right, Bethany, Herman, I'm coming to you. What are your takeaways? Herman, you're up.
All right, well, I'll jump in since Bethany didn't jump in yet. I definitely agree with the one room at a time, and sometimes you have to do one space at a time. What I've found out, if you're a really busy person and you don't have a whole lot of time, to do stuff around the house, that's usually the main culprit is, well, I'll get to it when I have time. And you think, I'm gonna have to block out a whole day or just to do this one room. And just do one section at a time, one closet shelf, one area of the linen closet, or one area of the laundry room. Okay, I'm going to organize all my cleaning supplies. and do one thing at a time until you get it all done. That's been the only way I've been able to accomplish anything, because with the remodeling, new cabinets and stuff we're getting in the kitchen and all, stuff is everywhere. And the only way I can deal with it is just like one little piece at a time. I said, okay, I'm gonna get these bags and I'll get something else tomorrow and something else the next day, and you gradually chip away at it, you can get it. But it's tough.
Herman, that's the prime time for you to get rid of stuff if you're getting new cabinetry. You just, as you're putting the stuff back in the cabinets, decide what's good and what's not and what you're holding on to for no reason, and get rid of that stuff.
That's right. The only thing is we put it all in the dining room, and so now I don't want to throw away anything. Well, I can't throw this away because we can use it. Well, I can't throw that away. What am I going to do with it? So I bought a bunch of Tupperware boxes. Now I've got 25 Tupperware boxes full of stuff, and I don't know what am I going to do with that. I have to build a building on the back of the house.
Right.
Tupperware
well, you
boxes.
gave it an honest try, so that's good. So now you just have your Tupperware boxes that are organized. So that's better. That's a step. We're taking baby steps at a time.
That's right. That's right.
Bethany, what about you?
So we moved last August, and it has been the best thing, I think, to just, you were forced, right? It's like, oh, we don't want to have to move this stuff. So we really got intentional, and we were in the midst of COVID and everything else. So we really donated what we could, and it got us in the frame of mind of not buying. It was kind of like a preventative thing now. I'm like, do not buy unless we absolutely need it, and being very intentional in filling our new space. And also, we're at the age and stage where, and this is a blessing, but we are like, okay, we're gonna hone in on a few quality pieces that, we're at the age where it's like, okay, this might be our couch for the rest of our life, things like that, you know what I mean? And not buying a whole bunch of just knickknacks and things like that to fill space. So, not that everyone can move, but like Herman, if you're redoing a room or something like that, it is, like Twandra pointed out, it's a great time to like say, okay, get rid of this, and not to you can get at that temptation of refilling what you remove from your house. And so we're trying to be really intentional about not doing that. And it's hard because I'm one of those that sees something on a sale. I'm like, oh my gosh. And no, don't do it. Think about it. Do you need it?
Exactly. Yeah. Believe it or not, we've been in our house for a year now, and that veterans truck has been there 4 times when I had already gotten rid of stuff before then. So it's like my mission is to become a minimalist, and I want to be able to wipe across counters and cabinets and things and not have things in my way so I can quickly do it. Again, it goes back to saving time and time management.
I appreciate that, Twandra, and appreciate the tips from the co-hosts and all that have been in the chat box. So I'm seeking joy. This is my shirt today. And some of that joy starts to get stepped on when I can't find things, or things are messy or disorganized. So long way to go, but bite-sized chunks. So we did tackle the garage after the spring session with you, Twandra. And I was working on my closet, pulled all of the clothing out of my closet, and was working on putting back only what I was going to keep and not keep, and got distracted, and it sat out for too long. And ultimately my husband came along and bagged it up and put it back in my closet because it was in the bedroom for way too long. But we're going to have a take 2 and a try again and start small. Previous sessions last week, Kim talked to us about budgeting, and it dawned on me, sort of, Bethany, what you said too. Sometimes a great deal, you're like, oh, I don't want to pass up this great deal, but then it does 2 things. You don't use it, so it has wasted your money, and it's caused more clutter. So I appreciate that. And prior to that, Sarah came on and had us thinking about our to-do list. And one of the things, and Herman, I appreciate you posting this, was some things can be done, need to be done like in excellence, but some things can be done and it's a good enough. Maybe we start with some things and have them as a good enough. Whereas if we set it out to be, it has to be done fully, completely, and excellently, we don't get to it because it's too overwhelming. But can we do something that's in the good enough space? So the call out to everyone here is think about where your spaces are. Start small. So find an area or find an item of things, whether it's laundry, whether it's paperwork, or it's a section of your kitchen, a drawer, or whatever it might be. Start there, start small, and just see where things go. Thank you, Twandra, for some awesome
You're welcome,
information.
and thank you all. And I see in the chat box, a lot of people are talking about inherited items.
Oh,
So maybe
yes.
that's something we need to come up with a plan to maybe facilitate another session on.
Yep. We'll look for that. Thank you all, and everyone have a fantastic weekend. Take care. Bye.